Look at this. Just all the way down. Today we're running a 94 20R John Deere 4-wheel drive tractor with row crop tires on it. And the new prototype of the fast duraplacer frame with Yetter strip freshener row units. But yeah, this is just like your basic clean sweep Yetter trash wheels with the clean sweep from Precision, your gauge wheel, opening coulter, closing coulters, and your reel on the back. I'm only running, as you can see, 2 inches deep. I think that's probably all we would ever run. I don't see why you would ever go 4 or 4.5 inches. We typically only run 2.5 inches in corn, maybe 2 1/4 deep, and so I don't see why you would want to go any deeper, but maybe. It's a lot. It's a big machine. The tank is massively overkill for what we're trying to do here. I'm just putting on starter fertilizer. That is obviously for 32. This is a 24 row bar. We only run a 16 row planter, so that's also overkill. You're supposed to be able to fold these wings up down to a 16 row bar. They're not so sure on the weight and all that, so they just said just run them down. We haven't really tested that, so I'm running 24 rows. The only thing I'm testing with this is, obviously you can see this is where our strips are from fall. They're kind of hard. You know, the planter, the row unit doesn't really ride very well on these kinds of strips. This is corn on corn with cover crops on it, and they're kind of hard. So we're hoping with this machine, or this implement, to be able to freshen these up just like you would with a finisher in the spring. Not only that, but we've got the starter going straight into the furrow as well. That way it takes it off of the planter. We don't got to put the starter fertilizer on the planter, so that the planter can keep moving. And we're hoping to see some results out of it. If it don't, hey, we're just testing it. So we didn't buy anything. So we're not out anything, I guess. Let's get the machine, see how she goes. This tractor, by the way, is insanely overkill for anything that we would probably ever need. I'm not a huge fan of the articulated tractors. So when you turn the wheel, the tractor actually turns in the center. So it's really jerky. Not only that, I don't like how I don't have the visibility behind the tractor as much as a front wheel drive or a front wheel assist. But either way, it's getting the job done. Neighbor told me that he was covering about 65 acres an hour with this thing. So, I mean, for a co-op, I guess that's great. But for any farmer around here, really, I mean, that's fast. So we would never need anything like that. A 16 row bar would do just fine, and you know, covering about 45 acres, 40 acres an hour, that's more than enough. I've also never been in a Deere new enough with one of these new monitors, so that's been interesting, trying to figure out everything. I mean, here's the controller for the air compressor with all the row units have down pressure, rolling baskets have air, row cleaners, all that stuff. I haven't really messed with it at all. The only thing I've done is I pulled up the row cleaners a little bit, just because it seemed like they were digging a little too hard. Just kind of having them tick across the field. Down pressure on the row unit set around, I don't know, 15, 20. And for the rolling baskets, about 30, 35. That's what the neighbor told me anyway, so that's what I've been running. He's ran it a little longer than I have, so I'm just kind of going with his word. As I said, this is the prototype bar from Fast. I mean, the bar itself is nice, folds up like a planter and stuff like that, but I mean, it's so long, it's so big, I got to get used to it. That's just all there is to it. Constantly shifting tracks. I don't have the right headings on this field, but we're getting it figured out. There's a ton of stem pipes on this field, which is going to suck. I'm just kind of going around them, but it's so stinking dusty and windy that I can't hardly tell where I'm at half of the time. Well, I've gotten a little more used to it, and I don't know, I kind of like it. It's just whether or not it's going to pay or not. If the strip freshener itself pays, then you know that's the only reason to buy one. But it is making them look real nice now that I'm actually on the rows. It's always a challenge with new equipment. Somebody else's tractor. I don't think, my dad was saying earlier that, you know, the way I'm putting on starter with this bar, I don't think that's going to work, and because it's not going to be in furrow with the seed, you know, yeah, because your planter could get off, this could get off the strips. So he was saying you pretty much have to keep the starter fertilizer on the planter. That way you know it's right there with your seed. And I guess thinking about it, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I mean, because this may not, I don't even know. Well, for one, I actually don't know if it is getting the correct amount of gallons per acre out there, for one, which I guess goes with anything, but it's also, this bar is set up towards shooting it out on the sides because it's set up for 32, which I think this thing would be great for 32. It's not necessarily, they probably weren't thinking, okay, somebody's gonna run starter fertilizer with this. But we were kind of excited to maybe think about getting the starter fertilizer off of the planter, so we wanted to try it. And not only that, but there's enough guys around here running strips that the custom work potential would be so high if the strips actually made a difference, or if the strip freshener actually made a difference. You know, if we saw a yield gain just from freshening up these strips in the spring, I mean, you couldn't run out of work. Anyway, I am going to try to put the end rows on now. I'm only going to do the outside edge because it's a 24 row bar and we've got 32 end rows, so, and I'm not going to record while I'm doing it because yeah, never ran a 24 row bar. Alright, we're here on some beans. Whether or not this fertilizer is going to work or not, I doubt, but I ran out of a 624/6 starter fertilizer just to get it off of the bar, and then I put in my own riser from Nutrient and a little bit of radiator root growth hormone or something of that nature. And so I'm just gonna see if the radiate does anything to the beans, because I know starter probably isn't gonna do anything for the beans, but we're just testing it. Left side is 624/6. And this pass is going to be my riser and radiate. Well, I've officially broken the tractor. We got a code on the terminal, SCR fault or something. It has something to do with DEF or the NOx sensor or whatever. Either way, I called and they said definitely stop running. Of course, I'm on the road, so I'm going to get to the farm and hopefully not get stranded on the road, because this thing's really not that handy on the road. But yeah, that's gotta be fixed, so that kind of screws up my plans here in a big way. You know, I don't mind the DEF fluid or the diesel exhaust fluid if they would just stop putting it on equipment and vehicles until they have it figured out. The amount of problems with DEF is just, it's ridiculous. Luckily on our farm anyway, pretty much everything is a 2010, so nothing has DEF, and it makes it very hard to want to upgrade. These are the strips I just did the other day. They look pretty good. Unfortunately, this bar is so long that I couldn't make it through the entrance of this southern field here. I couldn't make it through this entrance down here, so I had to run through my fresh, nice strips and bring it across, which is fine. I was really proud of them, but it's fine. Anyway, we did make it. The code is still flashing, obviously. It's not just going to fix itself, unfortunately. I'm just going to drive it down towards the main road here so that they can see where I'm at. And I'm just going to shut it off and sit and wait for them to arrive, I guess. Hopefully it's just a sensor and it's, 10 minutes. But if it's as far as draining all the DEF because it's contaminated or something I mean, that could probably take a while, so I guess we'll find out. Finally back to this beauty. Tractor had some problems, obviously. Something with the NOx sensors on the DEF, but apparently she's good to go. So I'm gonna finish up these strips. I'm gonna freshen them a little bit, show you guys kind of how the bar is working. I think it does a nice job, in my opinion. In fall, we'll find out if it did anything. Wait for it. No warnings. Okay, we've got our plot that we've wanted. Just gonna go ahead and flag these quick. It's kind of hard to see where my end rows were. The guy that was fixing the tractor drove through here so many times, so I'm just gonna put them here, and I'm gonna have to move them with the planter later. Just gonna set them kind of close. Hopefully that doesn't rip out as soon as I take off. Sure looks nice anyway, compared to this. Can't even see the strips, so. When you get on your strip, when you stay on your strip, it really does a fantastic job. strips. I mean, just look at this. Look at this. Just all the way down. So I'm getting off some of the times, off of my rows, that is. But when I'm dead on that row, man, it's killer. Love what the row units are doing. The fast bar, if it wasn't 24 rows, I mean, I'd probably love it. It's built like a tank. But I mean, for guys that want a 24 row bar, it's very usable. This doesn't help the fact that these hoses are not run the best. And I keep hitting them with the tires on the tractor. If I could run them any other way, it would be fantastic. A zip tie would go a million miles here. But we're just gonna have to be careful. Yeah, absolutely love what it does as far as on the strips. If you were putting 32 down with it, that'd be fantastic. We need to see results in 7 months. So that's the next step. She's back home though, safe and sound. Oh my goodness gracious. Good Lord. The monitor's about as bright as the sun at night.